All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Suspenders Unbuttoned podcast. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Julie, and we're excited to welcome back Viv Leacock. Welcome back, Viv.
Thank you. It's so great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Yes, anytime. And really fun because we get to meet you in real life just this last December in Kansas City. How did you like being part of the Hallmark Christmas experience?
It was really great to see y'all like in person. That was a lot of fun. And I know you guys felt it. The vibe there was I don't know, it made us all feel very special to know that people felt so happy to meet us and see us, and it just creates this moment where everybody's feeling good. It's like, if right, because if you come to that show, then you're looking for a certain type of feeling, a certain type of connection. It's the same on the other side for us when we go to that show. And from it was kind of a shock. It was a shock for me. Like, my castmates have been a part of uh, these things a lot more than I have, and it to meet the Hardys, um, especially in that region, in that neck of the woods, because Kansas is like, Hallmark's headquarters.
Yeah.
To meet that fan base, wow, that put us that kind of put it on another level in terms of how much impact I can see that we have. It's yeah,
Right.
it was very special. And then got to bond with my my castmates even more, which is very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess somebody was telling us this before, but when you do the Hardy's family reunion every year, but it's where you are and it's a small
Yeah.
amount of people, so it feels a little bit maybe more isolated. So
Hmm.
you're not always seeing the expanse of it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and my favorite part, other than interacting with the fans, like taking photos and doing trivia and stuff like that, was watching them watch the episode, the premiere episode, because we don't get to see that. We're not, we don't see people laughing in their homes and all that stuff.
Right.
We're not a part of that. So for me, especially, like, I did stand up comedy in earlier in my life, and I like to be a storyteller, and I like the engagement
Right.
of that, to
Yeah.
see them laughing on lines that we know are funny when we film them, but we never get to see people's reaction like that. So that was really cool.
To be sitting in the audience there normally we're just sitting in our own homes,
Hmm.
right? And so to be all together was so much fun because the responses were big.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they were, and we were getting laughs in spots that we didn't even. Didn't know that line was gonna do that thing. You don't know that, when
Yeah.
you film it. So, um, I honestly was like, man, I wish we could watch all the episodes with a core group, of fans.
Right.
That'd be so cool.
Okay, so back up just a second. Could you actually see everybody or were you just listening?
We could have peeked out from behind stage and seen everybody, but I was listening. I was kind
Yeah.
of like, wow, like really listening, because we could see playback where we were, so we knew what
What was
the
happening?
audience was seeing. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it wasn't just a thing so we weren't necessarily seeing the audience, so we could peek around and see them, which I did as well. Yeah, it was so cool to see them reacting in real time to the episode. It was such a cool thing.
I think
Yeah.
that the everyone loved hearing that you guys stayed to for
Yeah.
the episode because people really had a lot of fun. I was sitting next to Sarah, and her Italian hands were going.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
Yeah. I mean,
Fun.
the energy in the room was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
like
That was the
tangible.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the thing. The energy, because again, we don't get to experience it like that.
Yeah.
So everybody came away from that like, oh my god, that was such a meaningful. I didn't even see that coming. I
Right.
didn't even think about that. So
And I try to tell people how big those screens were. There were 3 screens and they were massive.
massive, massive.
Massive screens, like so large. Just even the beginning to see the new opening after four
Hmm.
or 5 years of the same
The
opening,
same.
to
Yeah.
get a new
Yeah,
opening was, amazing to watch unfold on that huge screen.
that
So
was a big screen, and then yeah, it was cool to see our little show on such a big screen.
I mean, that was bigger than a movie theater screen. That was
Yeah.
huge.
Your
Yeah, it was
not
big.
so little show.
Not so little show, yeah, based
Yeah.
on the size of that screen for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and the show is had some great acclaims. It was the #1 cable entertainment show of the year.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
that number came out, so which is amazing. Congratulations!
Yes,
And
yeah. So congratulations to the fans because honestly, this might be the the I don't know the biggest application of in terms of what I've seen of fan interaction, fan engagement, and then the result of that the show is here, and
Yeah.
because you see that in a show where it's been out for 3 seasons. That makes sense if a
Yeah.
show is a hit and it's been out for a relatively short period of time. The fever and the fire behind the fan base is like it makes sense, but you get you get 13 seasons into something, you don't necessarily think that you're gonna get that same type of reaction. So I'm blown away by it.
so, congratulations
I
on
know.
season
On
13.
13.
Can you believe it? The Canfields came in season 8.
Yeah,
This is going to be your sixth season on the show.
yeah. This is the I haven't been on anything for this long, so it's 3 seasons was my top on anything I'd done before this. So this yeah, it's all new territory for me as far as being on something again with and engaging with a fan base for such a long period of time. It's such a cool thing actually.
So, coming straight out of Kansas City and then the show is airing a few weeks later, did that kind of change maybe the way you watched things while it was airing? Maybe like watching the fan interaction or interacting with fans yourself. Like, did it change things for you?
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, it was we met so many folks. It was and we got to meet so many people that were from all different parts of the country. So it kind of gave you this. We had an understanding of this before, which is we know that there's a big fan base all around the world,
Yes.
different areas. But to meet so many different folks from so many different places, yeah, you kind of got this kind of feeling of oh this I really know how big the reach is because I've met people from
Yes.
so many places now, um, rather than just seeing it on Instagram or socials where they say they're from a certain place. It's kind of cool to put faces to
Yeah.
names and locations. So yeah, it changed the way we see our show. I think we all realize how much bigger it is than we even think it is.
Right. Right. No, and it was fun to be in that space. There were so many fans at each of the panels. It was the space was very, very large, and including the 3 very large screens for everything.
Yeah.
Um, it was a fun time for sure to be there at, and I think people are hoping that the When Calls the Heart cast is at the Hallmark Christmas Experience again.
Yeah, we're hoping for that, and we all talked after, and we all were like, it would be so cool. It'd be like if there was a When Calls the Heart weekend, but there's
Yes.
just like, so because there were fans for different programs that are on the Hallmark Channel, and had come to meet and mingle with other stars from different programs, but whenever we met like any fans that were specifically there to meet the When Calls cast, we were all like, patting ourselves on the shoulder a little bit more.
I think probably most people were there for the Wencalf cast.
I mean, we
In
got
my
to watch that
impression,
unfold, and that was pretty special to
yeah,
watch.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, that weekend changed how I have always been proud of this show, but just to see that and such a huge level, yeah, it's a good feeling when you know that you can impact people's lives in such a positive way,
right.
uh, and create discussions and the offshoots of all of. It's so interesting that the offshoot of a show is then podcasts and interviews and revelations, and it's a cool time to
A
be
Right.
lot
on
of
the
social
show.
media accounts too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, there's
yeah,
even a newer Canfield account that's running some great stuff.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yes, Jen runs the
yeah,
Canfield account. Yeah,
Yeah, Jen is amazing, and
she is.
Jen, I was like, oh wow, okay,
yep.
our vacation video is up.
Yeah, no,
That blew
no,
me away.
yeah. Expect everything to get reposted now. So
It's amazing, though. Honestly,
lots of
Uh,
support.
is there a standout moment? Like what was something that you really remember about the weekend in Kansas City that just like really had an impact on you? Was there one moment or was it just the whole thing in general?
the we were told early on before we got there that we were gonna have security for us, and I was like, what? Come on, we don't need security. Uh, Not in any type of bad way, but just in the sense of like we need people to, because if you let us, all the cast, we will jump into the crowd and stay
Yes.
there for the rest of the time. Like nothing else will be done, and that's the whole thing. It's like there's a schedule to this,
Mhm.
and sometimes we have to get tapped. Like, hey, it's time to go, and so I was looking at security in one sense only of like kind of having like a barrier between us and,
Protection,
and, the,
yeah.
and the fans, and I was like, we don't need that. And that is true. We didn't need that. We didn't need any type of protection, but we definitely needed some big, strong people to be like, we got to go, and we're going this way through the crowd, and it 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 made it easier to kind of break off any
Yeah.
type of conversations that we were in when we had a schedule to keep. It made it easier to break off because like it's not me. He's
Yeah.
saying we gotta
He's
go.
saying that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said we gotta go, so we have to go. We love you, but they are giving us the kind of thing.
The security detail was fantastic. They were
Oh,
wonderful, and
love them, love them. They were
yeah,
so
no,
great.
just so good. And I did laugh and was leaned over to Sarah at one point and said exactly what you just said. It's like herding cats.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, because
Herding cats.
yeah, we'll jump out into the crowd and stay there. Like
Yeah,
honestly, like all of us are like, let's go, let's
right.
go.
Even keeping
That's
the pictures moving, or like
yeah, yeah.
all of that.
You need that organization. I have to say, it was a very well oiled
Yeah.
machine.
Yeah,
I'm hoping that if we that happens again, that we get the whole When Calls cast. I
Yes.
think all of us there would be.
all 500.
I mean, I think that it would be like the crowd size would even double
Yeah,
if
I
you
think
got
so
a
too.
full.
I don't know how many they can even take for a weekend because it's sold out. Your weekend was sold out, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
bet
right.
the crowd will say the same. I mean, they can only take so many as long as they're in the same place, which I'm sure. Well, it's already been announced it will be in the same spot. So
Yeah,
because Hallmark is right there, so for
Yeah.
people
that's what I'm saying. It's right across the
We didn't
street.
even get over to
So
see
we
the
didn't
headquarters
get over there. We
I
missed the
know.
little museum. We got to get over there, but
next time. Yeah. We were
It was
so
very cool walking around when we went around walking around the area. Yeah, you kind of realize again, like made us all feel special.
right. They have their own plaza there, and the Christmas experience and everything. Well, let's move on to the season 12. This was a fun season for the Canfields, and particularly Joseph and Angela had some really wonderful scenes as Joseph is accepting Angela going up. But
Yeah,
Allie's birthday party was pretty special because Joseph and Angela have this wonderful conversation And Joseph is really listening to, and Angela's really in a very grown up way trying to explain how things are not the same for her. What'd you think when you first saw that script?
You know, it's such a good moment as a parent, and then as a scene partner,
Right.
to get a chance to portray it, because you can get caught up in directing your children without really listening to what they're saying.
Yeah.
It's very simple, because you can kind of believe that, well, I've been through every emotion you've been through, so I understand what you're saying. I'm not even listening, but because I get it, because I've been there. and and yeah, you can the best thing to do is to if you want to make sure you're listening to your kid, is to repeat back what they just said. you know it's like, if she's like, I want to go away to college, rather than right away being like, well, nah, just, they've said what they've said for a reason, and they have feelings behind it, and you have to give them that space. They want to be heard, but it's tough. It's a tough balancing act of, like, for instance, I'll give you an example in real life that happened with Vienna and I.
Mm-hmm.
So Vienna has her license, and she's been driving for a little bit now, and she's a very good driver. She's very, very, very safe driver, very conscientious and
Hmm.
whatnot. But it's like, Vienna is very, very by the book,
Yeah.
and she, in real life,
Mm-hmm.
she's Angela and Vienna are very similar, and uh, and so I I jump ahead and say, I'll stay with you in the car until such time that you feel comfortable that you can drive off on your own. And the simple fact of me even saying that might make her think that I don't think
Oh, right.
that
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
can drive in the car by herself.
Right.
And I had to check myself, because my son Lennox is driving as well, and with him, I put him in go-kart racing when he was a kid, and
Okay. So
I know how confident he is behind the wheel.
that,
And so he asked, "Yeah, can I go?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, it was like automatic. But again, because Vienna is safer,
yeah.
I found myself going, "Oh man, I'm really getting out in front of her and almost blocking the
Right.
situation." So I said to her, I'm like, "You do whatever you do. I know you're ready." And I had to look at it a different way than I looked at it with Lennox, and I realized that I was doing that. It was me. It wasn't her. It was me. And
Yeah.
I and that's the that goes straight back to the conversation that Angela and Joseph had, where he assumed that she was talking about something that she wasn't, and trying to do the thing where I'm gonna get out in front of these feelings you have, and I'm gonna fix them, rather than just listen to what she's saying. Don't need to fix anything.
Yeah. It was fun to see that journey play out where we're all watching Joseph and we're like, okay, well, he's not doing anything wrong, but he's not
No.
necessarily doing what she needs, and then
Yeah.
him figuring out what she needs. And I think that I found the journey of the Canfields very relatable this year. I have a teenager, although she's not graduating yet, but we still deal with many of the same things.
Yeah.
So I guess
Hang on a second. First of all, hang on. You have a teenager?
I do. I do.
When did you? Right? Like,
I'm old.
where? What are you talking about right now? That's
My daughter, she's gonna be 15 this summer.
You look like you're
Yeah.
18. How do you have a 15-year-old?
Well, now we are best friends. Thank you.
Well, hey, you know what? Thank your parents. I had nothing to do with it, but wow, you just blew my mind. What are you talking about? You have 15.
I do. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All
Um.
right. Just blew my
Yeah.
mind. Okay.
and But anyway, I guess what I was trying to say is
We can
I
relate. We can relate
that
to
is
each other.
so relatable,
Yeah.
and just having to stop and say like, "Oh, wait, that's not what I might be right, but it's not what needs to be said at the moment."
Yes, that's very. I might
Yeah,
be correct, but
yeah,
the whole thing, and the whole thing too about kind of giving the kids the answers to everything that comes up is that they don't learn it for themselves, and they have to learn it for themselves. We're here to guide them, but we can't answer every question as far as like you never need to look into this any further.
right.
I've
Right.
given you the answer, and you never ever need to do your own research, and that's not right because how did we arrive at these conclusions that we have? We were given way more space
Yes.
to make way more mistakes
Yeah,
when we came up. Way more space. Now we're like,
Mm.
we don't want you to make that mistake that I made, so I'm gonna like tell you everything now, and then you'll never have to make a mistake ever, and then
right.
your life will be wonderful. It's like,
But
no.
that's how they learn what
Yep.
they do want and what they don't want too. But
and and what they can take. That's
right,
what they
right,
Yeah.
learn.
right. But in the dance scene, there's a wonderful like transition for Joseph as he walks beside her, literally dances beside her, changes what he is thinking and how he's gonna really lift her up, like really
Yeah.
lifting Angela up to and that daddy daughter moment where you're dancing, like that's something every daddy daughter can relate to.
Yes. Yeah.
And she has different concerns over dancing because she can't see how she looks compared to everyone else. And what did you like about that scene and that transition?
Yeah, that I've never put myself into the to the mindset of someone who is visually impaired. I you know learning how to dance for me was always it was a visual thing as far as I
Right.
would watch music videos,
Yeah.
and like study
MTV.
the moves. You know what I mean? And rewind. We could rewind that move. What was it? Because this is all about. For me, I came through like breakdancing, hip
Yeah,
hop dancing. I came through that era,
yeah,
so everything was there was innovation every day. Someone was
Right.
doing something. And
right.
it's like when Michael Jackson did the moonwalk for the first time. Everybody was trying to do the moonwalk the next day. That
We
was
were on it.
we were
We
on
were
it. That was the
on
first
that.
thing you tried. And there were people. You fell into two camps. You could do the moonwalk, or you could not do the moonwalk.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it.
Most of us couldn't.
Where did you fall?
you
Could
know.
you do the
Oh
moonwalk?
yeah, I can do the moonwalk.
Yeah, I
I
can
can do it.
moonwalk too. I
I
can
can
still
still do it.
moonwalk.
I can still do it. You know what? I have a story about the moonwalk. My brother Richard, he's also an actor. When he was, this was like, man, this is early '80s or mid '80s. Diana Ross came to town to
Ooh,
do a concert,
yeah.
and in the middle of the concert, she was talking about her friend who has this dance that everybody's going crazy over, and she was like, "Can anybody do this dance?" And my brother, along with like 100 other people, got up and went up on stage. And out of everyone on that stage, one person could do the moonwalk, and that was my brother. And he moonwalked across the entire stage, and people lost their minds. Like they went crazy,
Yeah.
like he was Michael Jackson. I've seen him do stuff like that twice in my life, and it pulled me in. Like I was like, oh my. Watching him do that, and seeing how confident he was doing that, man, that sparked something in me. It
I was
was
gonna
it
say,
was
Isn't it funny that that can still elicit those same
yeah.
feelings like now? Like even this summer we were watching a show at a resort we were at, and it was like a Michael Jackson impersonator. But when he came out and did the moonwalk, everybody was just going crazy because
yeah,
he's still just so incredible.
it is. It takes you right back, but
Yeah.
it's it's like it's just that relates back to what we were talking about with Angela and Joseph and and trying to show her how to get into it.
Mhm.
And yeah, you have to put yourself in the mindset of what if I couldn't see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. How would I even describe this? I did ad lib in the scene in the moment. I said, step on my feet like you used to when you were small, because Vienna used to do that with me.
Right.
So
It was
it's like
perfect.
yeah, I don't know if I would have necessarily thought of that if I wasn't of dad who had
Yeah.
gone through that in in real life. I don't know if I would have thought of it in the moment, and maybe I would have thought of it beforehand, like
Right.
preparing. But
Not in the moment.
I don't have to think when I'm with Vienna playing Angela and Joseph. I don't have to think
Right.
about it because it's us. So
Because those
and
dad
then
moments are there. You've had those moments. She's literally danced on your feet.
yeah, she had but also I'm also living in the moment of watching my daughter act with me.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is also what's happening. So again, you look at my face. I'm not acting. I am in this moment.
Yeah.
Yes, there's something that's kind of pulling me to. I have to remember the lines that I have memorized to say, and to also cue Vienna to say what she's memorized to say. But I'm still in this moment of looking at my daughter
Yeah.
in front of me
Mm.
do this thing in front of me, which is causing this reaction.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It is actually a trip,
I
honestly.
can't even imagine. I mean, you've have such a big career and you've been doing this for so long, but it's got to change things when you're actually there with your own children playing and they're playing your children, but you're not yourself. Like it really must be a trip.
Yeah, it feels like a cheat code
Yeah.
because, again, like if you could have the chemistry that if any other actor could pray for anything as far as from a chemistry level,
Mhm.
it would be that you get to understand what I get to understand,
Mm.
doing these scenes because chemistry is it's not an issue. I'm not gonna find out that when I act with my child that I'm like we don't like each other suddenly. That's not what's going on. Or oh my gosh, Elias has an ego and he's trying to push me out of scenes. Nothing like that is happening. It's all amazing, and I am I am an audience member while I am also a participant, which is it's such a crazy thing to go. Someone might say, "Man, that's easy for him because those are his kids, so it's not hard to relate." But I'm still in awe of the
Right.
situation
Yeah.
while it's happening. So
You
I
know,
would think would make it more challenging in a lot of ways. Yeah.
first season, yeah, it actually was challenging only because the first season, neither of the kids had done anything
Yeah.
on film before
Mhm.
that, of this on this level. So, so now it wasn't this thing where I was kind of sitting back in the moment
Mhm.
and just watching with like, oh, that's such a good. No, 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 no. What it was early on was me. I had three minds now. I had
Yeah.
I'm Joseph, and I
Yeah.
have to say the lines correctly to cue my child, who I'm like, please say the line correctly back to me. But I'm also watching my kid,
Yeah.
so tiny and small, act with me in a scene. So there's that side of me. And then I'm Joseph relating to his child, and it's 1919 or 20.
Yeah.
It's like a lot's happening right now. So yeah,
Yeah.
the the first the first season was such oh, it was a mind game for me. I
Yeah.
was I was I was I
Yeah.
had different hats on all at the same time, and it was way more stressful
I was
than
just gonna say
it
that
is.
sounds exhausting.
Way
Mentally
more
exhausting.
stressful.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know. I never, anytime I was on set, anytime before I ever worked with my kids, it was my time. I
Yeah.
was like, like they would come around sometimes on, like, say, a production we were going to go overtime, and they'd say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Viv, we're going to push your scene to a little bit later." Now, with three small children at home, the chaos that was happening, I was like, "Oh, that's fine. You can keep me, no problem. Let me just tell my wife, sorry, they want to keep me. What can I do? I'm sorry, not me. It's them." But wow, because it was my time.
Yeah.
right.
Me going to set was about what I do
Yeah.
Yes.
for them, for them,
Right.
not with them.
Yeah.
So
Right.
it was
Yeah.
that was a leap that I didn't realize how much that was of a toll that was gonna take.
But think of where you are from season 8. We've all been able to watch your kids physically grow. I mean,
oh yeah, wait till you see Elias. He by the time we start filming again, he's gonna be taller than me. He is as tall as me right now, and he's gonna be taller than me by then, guaranteed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, they've grown as actors. I mean, we can just see that growth with every scene and how wonderful they are. Um, but with that, then you got the wonderful Schwartzman School
Oh
story.
yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
and I love how Minnie's journey to Schwartzman and Joseph's and
Mm-hmm.
Angela's, they're all very different.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. It's it's like I was talking about the whole driving situation. It's my wife Davina and I have had to navigate those feelings as
Mhm.
well when it comes to Vienna driving. And again, she's a great driver. I've been on, I no hesitate. I did not hesitate to be on the road with Vienna and her to drive us around, and and we're going places. But I realized how reluctant I was to let go of the reins.
Yeah.
To let her go. Um, uh, yeah, and my wife and I, you end up looking at each other, kind of going, "Are you more comfortable, or am I more like what's happening here?"
Yeah.
It's it's such a trip to me that it's so difficult to like just get out of the way. It really is a hard thing to do. I think it's the hardest lesson that as a parent that you have to learn is to let go. That is it is the
Yeah.
hardest thing to do.
Right.
You've been looking after these little ones since they couldn't look after themselves. It's really difficult to just step back. Ah, man. Yeah. So
Yeah, it
the
was fun to watch
Schwartzman school
my
was
dad.
amazing. I was very proud of Hallmark.
Yeah.
They hired amazing visually impaired
Yeah.
actors to come in and play those very important characters, and we all learned so much about how visually impaired folks kind of navigate the world. And one of the girls said something that blew my mind. She was saying that sometimes when they're traveling, from place to place, there's there's like a situation where some taxi drivers or Uber drivers won't pick them up because of their dogs, because of the seeing eye dogs. They
Mhm.
won't, like, they face kind of
Yeah.
people being ignorant
Yeah.
almost. And it blew my mind because I'm like, what? Who would do that to someone who can't see? What? But it happens to them, and that blew my mind more than anything. I would never guess that anybody who deals with any type of situation where they've had to learn another way of existing, that anybody who doesn't have that same situation would not help them. That blew my mind.
Yeah. I mean,
Blew my mind.
unfortunately, as a mom who has a child with special needs, and, we don't have like a seeing eye dog or anything, but
Yeah.
certainly you face certainly the ignorance and
Yes.
the the no sympathy. It's shocking every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made me, relate back to, my life and going through things that I've gone through as far as, different cultures, different races, tensions and whatnot. And then to watch your kids go through it. My kids go through it in a very different way than I have. When I came up,
Right.
things were not, they weren't as good as far as um, what anybody knew on the other side of how I felt. It was that wasn't anything that anybody knew.
Yeah.
So it was like my kids deal with ignorance.
Mhm.
I dealt with racism or
Mhm.
hatred or bigotry. I've dealt with that. They don't.
Mhm.
They don't. My kids don't deal with that. They deal with someone not realizing. Oh, I didn't realize that I said something that I shouldn't have. I
Mhm.
didn't realize that I crossed the line. But I dealt with people crossing the line, knowing they were I dealt with people intending to say something to bother me. That's what I dealt with. So, yeah, I'm happy my kids haven't, but we still got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And again, it leads back to me, saying I'm so proud of that day of shooting. Um, that was it was really special, and yeah, I gave a lot of thanks to Hallmark for doing. We did that right. We did
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I was actually surprised that they did that right.
Yeah,
Pleasantly surprised, and it felt special as a viewer. So I can only imagine that it was
yeah, a
really
lot of
special.
pride.
Yeah.
Natasha and I and Vienna, we were just like, oh wow, look at what we've our story has
Yeah.
brought. That's
Right,
where
right,
we were coming
right,
from.
right. The gal that played Clementine was just a joy on
Yeah.
screen. Just a joy.
She's amazing, absolutely incredible. Uh, her ability to navigate a room that she'd never been into blew me away. She took one tour, and she got it down, hitting marks, and I'm like,
Amazing.
what? What, you hitting marks better than me? What is happening right now? you know, like, wow, yeah. It's like when you come into a certain shot, you have to stop. You have to land on a certain
Mm.
point so that the camera can focus on you. And she was doing that. She was doing that better than 90% of the actors that I've seen that don't have any visual impairment. It was crazy.
Um,
Yeah. I mean, it is amazing. Amazing
Yeah.
how yeah, how that happens. Like you imagine that although she cannot see, like her brain is just
Oh,
working on so many levels that ours is just not working.
yeah.
Yeah.
What she would explain about how
Yeah.
she navigates a room and what she hears and what she can sense, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
man.
It's amazing.
you just think I'm not using my senses well.
No,
Yeah.
no. Honestly, you realize you're like, man, I'm kind of diminished here. Walking around like, oh my goodness.
And
Um, yeah,
great experience for Vienna to be able to hear how they navigate
Yeah.
and
she loved filming that day with Keisha, I believe her name was. Uh, Vienna loved that because one of the biggest fears she actually had when she was when she found out about the role of Angela was that she was I don't want to portray anybody with a visual impairment incorrectly.
Right.
right,
She was cognizant of the fact that there are people uh, there are loved ones of anybody with visual impairment that are going to be watching the show, and there was there's it's going to be it was a task for her to make sure she was doing that correctly. So to hang out with on that day and get pointers and really get insight that made her so happy because she was able to kind of go I've been doing it correctly. I
right,
know I've been doing it correctly, and now I got confirmation.
yeah,
So
and maybe a few more things, right?
yeah, she did pick up a few more things in terms of how to be in a space, and
Right.
it was interesting. Again, man, I can't even tell y'all. I'm not acting because if you think about it, the characters are learning something,
Mm,
and we are learning
Yeah.
something in real time.
right.
So when I'm looking at again, I'm Joseph, and Joseph's watching Angela go into this space and be accepted immediately. He's watching that happen. But guess what I'm watching? I'm watching my daughter, who plays somebody with a visual impairment, speak to somebody who is visually impaired, telling her that she's doing it correctly,
Yeah.
and looking at my daughter's reaction to that news. It was all happening at the same time. And
Love
it's,
it.
yeah, I'm blowing myself away now. It's great.
I really loved how the storyline that visit really
Yeah.
turned Minnie from cautious
Yes,
to a big advocate because she could see her daughter
Yeah.
thriving. And I
yes.
think that's something a lot of parents finally hit that point where they're like, oh my gosh, this is right for my kid.
Yeah, it's that thing where when you realize I've taken you as far as I can take you.
Mhm,
Yeah.
There's what you need to go do at this point is what you need to go do.
mhm,
I can only take you this far, and again, it's all based on how much you just want to protect them. That's all you want to do. If you have kids, like the second that I saw Vienna being born, two things that went through my head. The second I saw her, I I first of all, I knew I was going to have a daughter first. And I've known that since I was like 17 years old. I actually had Vienna's name in my head since I was 17, 16,
Love
17.
that.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
the craziest thing, this is another little offshoot to my life with my wife. My wife, Davina, had the same name in her head, and we had it separate from each other.
No way.
And we didn't know that until like 5 years ago, because I was like, oh, when I came up with the name Vienna, and she's like, what are you talking about? I came up with the name Vienna. I'm like, no, no, no. I always had the name Vienna in my head. And then we traced it back to when we first knew that our daughter's name was going to be Vienna. We were not together at that point. We were friends at that point. Not talking about being together or anything. I had never shared that was going to be the name of my daughter with Davina, and I didn't realize that. I just thought we must have. I must have said something,
Nope, we just
and
agreed.
yeah, we just like, so
I
that
love
blew
that
up
you
my.
traced it back.
Yeah, it's because you just assume. Oh, I know how. I know when I thought of this. It was before we were together, so I'm the one that said it. No,
Nope.
she already knew it, and yeah. The what was I saying before about? Well, this is what happens when you run off on tangents.
It's our
We
favorite
like
part,
the tangent.
though.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a good point too. Just I'll think of it again. It'll come
Yeah.
back.
But it's been wonderful to watch them, like, really, to see, like, Minnie, like, all of a sudden she was very cautious about sending her away.
Oh yes, that's what. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just that thing where where Minnie and Joseph, they know this is as far as I can take you, and from this point
Yeah.
on, you're gonna have to lead yourself. You're gonna have to. We can only, especially again, this talk about parents of children with any type of special needs or any type of impairment. There's a point where if they can function in the world without supervision, um, it's going to be on them. It's going to be what they decide to do. It's going to be what they can do, not what necessarily you can do for them. And
Yeah.
getting to that point, wow, it's so hard to let. It's hard to let go. It's just hard to let go. But what's nice about the storyline with the school is that the school is going to teach Angela to be more confident, to then deal with the world in a more confident way. Like
Yeah.
like what they need.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And again, a universally relatable story. People can relate to it in many different areas of life, I think. I mean, you've also talked about this before, but I'm curious, maybe having talked to more fans or whatnot, but what do you think makes the Canfields so special as a family?
Um, you know, I think being able to see this family interact with each other, because we're kind of a unique situation in that respect on the show, in that we're an intact family that that
Yeah.
you can focus on as a group. And all most of our scenes early on were that it was the four of us interacting with each other, and yeah, that's kind of put us in a very special camp on the set. And then obviously the the situation with two of the actors are also my actual children, that it gives us a really unique really unique position on set,
Mm-hmm.
because you can follow Cooper's path, you can follow Angela's path, separate from their mother and father. And then when we come together, you have all those stories that kind of come back into the house. It's Yeah, it's been a really cool thing to be the leads for.
Yeah.
It's like where there's this show has to service a lot of actors
Mm-hmm.
and carve out a lot of space for tons of storylines.
Mm-hmm.
So to have storylines that we are the ones responsible for portraying, as far as the family aspect of
Mm-hmm.
everything, that's cool. It's I mean, I see that ability being able to be something that uh, Nathan, Elizabeth, and Allie and Lil Jack can now kind of show as well. Whereas it just would have been harder to do, a couple seasons back because
Yeah.
Highland was such a little guy.
Right. Right. But, they're so unique because the foundation of this show was a mine explosion that tore intact
Family.
families apart. And
Yeah.
so there
Yeah.
just were no intact families in
Yeah.
this town. It was a
Yeah.
mining town, and that's what the foundation was. So even though you came in season 8, it was very unique because of how the show started. It showed single parents
Yeah.
and losses of children, even that were in the mines, and husbands
Yeah.
that were in the mine, and new people that came in as singles. But so it sounds weird to say in season 8 we're the intact family.
Yeah, you know what? You know what?
Yeah.
That's such a true statement. It's like that's like another angle on it. I didn't look at that. Yeah, it's something that we would clock very early on. Like, where are all
Nope.
the other families?
Right.
We
Yeah.
see there's mom, there's a kid, there's another grown person, but
Yep.
where's that person's father? Oh, right.
Yep.
This.
They're not here.
Yeah.
They went
It's
Yeah,
down.
in our
They went down the
imagination.
mine.
yeah,
Right?
yeah,
No, but it's super interesting. And as you say that, Nathan, Elizabeth, Allie, and Jack, we are now to the point where we're getting this multi-generational kind of stratification
yeah,
to the show, and it's giving it so much more depth. And I kind of love, like, where, like, we have like the adults, and then we have like the teens and young adults, and then we
yeah,
have the little ones, and it's giving some wonderful stratification to
yeah.
show that kind of started on a foundation without any.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you kind of look at the ripple effect that the mine implosion had.
Mhm.
This reverberation of, like, there were no, like we said, no intact families. To the point where people had to find love again,
Yep.
partners again, and try to keep moving this thing outward, and to see that the children, of that were placed in some of those situations now are getting to the point where they're getting grown and will
Yeah.
have relationships. Yeah, I mean, honestly, you don't get to do a study like this on lots of shows because they don't stick around long enough to
Yeah.
see this experiment unfold.
Yeah.
So
You
yeah,
know, you brought up a point that made me wonder. So you mentioned that the Grant Thorntons might be able to start fulfilling some of that of the family dynamic. And with the shift of Angela going off to school, how do you think, having this family that's starting to blend, and then the Canfields are Angela's not there, like how do you think that's going to change the dynamics for the Canfield family in terms of
yeah,
story?
yeah. That's something that I thought about as soon as the Schwarzman school came up. I was like, okay, obviously she's going to be going away, so that means that's two things happen. Vienna will be there less
Mhm.
because Angela's there less. So the dynamic that changes in real life changes on screen. Um, the they the plan for Angela is that Angela will be coming home on weekends, so she'll still be there,
Mhm.
but it's like she has what she's doing, and then she comes back to find out what we're doing,
Yeah.
rather than every time you see her, she's been a part of what's been going on.
Right.
No, we
Right.
now there's that little aspect of her life's expanding, and it's expanding our life on the opposite end. So yeah, I think it'll just make the dynamic for what the Canfields are going through, even richer. It's almost like I have a friend who had to move back into her parents' house when like later in life, for reasons that she never saw coming, and she was like, "It's hard to go back. It's it's like you spend so long outside and having your autonomy, making decisions about the house that you're in, and then you, you go back, and she was in her teenage bedroom or
Yeah.
her bedroom for when she was a teenager, and she was like, "This is the weirdest feeling." Because you can't go back. She at this point was like a mother, and she was like, "How am I here in this situation now with my parents? It's crazy." So I think there's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be some of that. That Angela, you know, she knows there's a bigger world outside
Mm.
that maybe she's going to want to go explore.
Yeah.
And there now you're going to have, Joseph and Minnie, scared. I think, and I know that this is not like now. I mean, I have my own fears about what my children might have to deal with when they leave my protection.
Right.
In this world, there's a lot more to consider for Joseph and Minnie in the time that they're coming through, and the fact that their daughter is visually impaired. It's like it puts her at such a disadvantage in that time. In that time of the world, especially, puts her at
Right.
such a massive, disadvantage that it's so scary to think about. Again, Hope Valley is this anomaly,
Yeah.
and they're that's not lost on them. So for Angela to be outside of that bubble and away from their protection is that's a
I think
tough
those are
thing
good,
to deal
going to
with.
be good stories.
Yeah.
Actually, like
Yeah,
this is how you bring the drama, and
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we're gonna get to watch Angela. She's gonna get more and more independent. She's not gonna get less
No,
independent. Yep, she's
no.
gonna get more
It's
independent.
good. Yes.
I think it's gonna be great. Let's hit a couple of fun things. Uh, Joseph and Mike Hickam got to do a little meddling this year between Lee and Lucas. Traditionally Joseph has been like the way he's meddled has been more like pastoral. So
Right.
Yes.
he really,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, yes, more pastoral, but not this time. How fun was it to do the?
uh, every time I got to say the lines, when I'm talking to Lee and talking to Lucas,
Yep.
every time I said like, "Now we're going, good day," and I turn around the horse and go. It's like I couldn't wait to say that line because it was like the look on their faces was so good because they're great actors, so they're giving me everything. They're looking
Right.
at me like, what are you doing?" And it took a lot to not laugh. I just wanted to laugh because I knew what we were gonna do. And I'm also looking at again. I don't have to act because everybody is who they are.
Yeah.
Like we so line up with these characters that it's hilarious to me because Kevin, I love Cav. I love Cav. Cav's gonna bust you on anything you do right away. So if you're trying to get away with something, Cav's gonna sniff it out and just burn you to the ground. McNally, McNally is such a sweetheart. He is. He's not going to confront you. He's not going to challenge you because he's such a sweetheart that he's just going to let this unfold and he'll just take the brunt of whatever bad's going to happen. He'll just take it. And then, and then Ben is so funny and always cracking jokes, and he's got there's a twinkle in his eye, man. So
Mhm.
so when you're looking at these guys and you're doing the scene, man, I'm trying so hard not to laugh. Every time I'm like, we're going now. I wanted to bust out laughing so much because of everything that Cav and Chris are doing on the opposite side of the lens that you guys can't see. Oh my god. And then looking over at Ben and he's already got a big grin on his face. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
man.
before
I
we
bet
go,
the outtakes for that were fun.
Oh man! And then me trying to like lead. I haven't had a lot of experience riding, or like I rode years and years ago,
Mhm.
and the horses, and I'm a little older than I was when I first started riding horses, and like I played a lot of sports in my life, and I have some injuries, and you need your hips to properly steer a horse.
Uh-huh.
And like I have this issue with my right hip, so I'm like, oh man, I can't steer this horse very well. And it's like a big workout. I had like a massage gun. I had all this stuff happening between takes. I'm doing stretches, and I was
When the
like,
hips start
man,
going, man, it's
I'm like, I try to be fit and not look my age. That's the thing
yeah,
that I know I have that going for me. But there are times where I'm like, yeah, you're
You can
50,
feel
you're
it.
50, bro. Yeah, yeah, brother, you are 50, you're almost 51. Yeah, it's like, oh man,
oh,
yeah, you feel it sometimes. But
but
it
it was
was
a fun scene. The four of
oh
you don't have
so
scenes
fun.
very often, and I love how Fiona comes and is like, "Doesn't anybody meddle anymore?
Yeah.
Come on!"
Yeah, yeah. She's like,
It
what
was it
happened?
was fun to see Joseph in more of a friend role and not just like I'm your friend, but I'm also your
Yeah,
spiritual leader kind of
Mhm.
yeah.
um
He's just one of the
thing.
guys at that point.
Yeah.
He's just one of the guys
Yeah.
doing what doing what they would have done. They would have done the same thing. They would have been like, "You two need to hash this out
Yep.
Yeah,
away from any type of posturing," because that's what that whole thing was,
yeah. No
right? They're
posturing.
they're posturing. They're posturing because, well, I'm this person in the community, and then I'm this person, and we can't agree because our egos are in the
Right.
way. And it's like, all right, how about we put you someplace where you don't have to worry about that?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Is there a person, a character on the show that you hope that Joseph gets to have some more scenes with?
Yes. It's my boy Ben Rosenbaum, man. Like Hickam and Joseph. Oh my lord. That honestly, that duo,
It
it's
would be
just so
fun to see
fun.
them getting into some more little antics like that, like trying to
Oh,
help somebody, but it's going wrong, or
I
like,
would love it. I'd love
yeah,
it because again, honestly, again, Ben, when we're doing the scene, and I'm looking over at Ben, and Hickam is like, he wanted to back out of this situation to the last second. He was like, I don't know if we should do this. I don't know if he like that's what's going on,
Right.
right? To look over at Ben, who is playing Hickam, and seeing him be like, I don't know if we should do this. Oh man, he doesn't know how funny he is.
Yeah.
And he knows how funny he is, but he doesn't know what else is happening when he's doing what he's doing. He doesn't know. He's got like a Puss in Boots
Yeah.
quality. Now I'll explain that. When Puss in Boots takes his little hat off and
Yeah.
and is looking up at someone to get them to do whatever he wants, Ben has that going for him. He can get anyone to do anything.
No, that could be fun. What kind of adventures can we send Joseph and Ben on, or who can they meddle with? Because clearly Fiona handed off meddling to the two of them.
Yeah,
Um,
I
so
I think it'd be amazing to watch Hickam and Joseph try to solve a mystery in town. I think that'd be the funniest thing.
it would be like a
Oh,
little side competition. Like they know
and Rosemary
Rosemary
just come out
and
and go
Bill are
like,
trying to
no.
figure
oh
something
yeah,
out, and
oh
they,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like Rosemary and Bill, are all official, and
Mhm.
they're such an investigative
Yeah.
team. And
Yep.
that's not Joseph and Hickam. That's not what's
No,
happening
I
there at
need
all.
a misadventure with Joseph and Hickam. Like it could be a lot
I'm
of
all
fun.
in.
That'd be
Yeah,
so
And then they're
fun.
randomly going to solve something. They just need to randomly totally solve something.
And then just stumble into all of it too. And
yeah,
it'd be
exactly.
like they both of them be so wrong, but it would work out in the end. And Joseph would say, "It's because I prayed on it. That's why it
Yeah.
all worked
Right.
uh,
out."
Speaking of Joseph and like his friends, we got to see some fun Henry and Joseph scenes, which we've been seeing for a couple of seasons now.
Yeah.
What do you think it is about the pairing of Joseph and Henry that makes it so special and unique?
It's with Henry and Joseph. I think it's they're both coming from the complete opposite ends of the spectrum as far as how they've handled everything in their lives to this to the point where they first really started communicating. They come from a completely separate way of doing things, but at the end of the day they line up because they're both people going through this particular time, and more specifically, like, you know if you were a woman going through this time, then it meant certain things. If you were a man going through this time, it meant certain things are
Right.
going to happen to you, and you're going to be pressed to do these things, and you're going to have to deal with these things. And I think what people are really picking up on when they watch these scenes is the fact that you know men from this era of time, they didn't necessarily have anyone to talk to about how they felt, and uh, they are helping each other through times where, again, you don't really get people expressing themselves as much as they should have with
Right.
everything that they were going through.
Right.
They people kept everything locked up inside, and so they are kind of, you always kind of see them circling each other, but they're drawing each other's emotions out
Right.
slowly, and it's so good for the both of them. You
I
know.
I love that comparison, and because Joseph, as the pastor, like people come to him to talk things out for counseling or for those moments. But who does Joseph go to? And he just really
Yeah.
needs Henry as much as Henry needs him, because he
Oh
needs a
yeah.
man who's been a professional man, completely different profession,
Really
like
different. Yeah.
complete, but understands like the weight of carrying things,
Yeah.
and Henry understands that weight that
Yes.
Joseph is trying to walk through, and they really end up walking beside each other, and in a way that maybe nobody else can for the two of them.
Yeah. Honestly, with what Henry needs at this point in his life, and then what Joseph needs at this point of his life, because the whole thing that maybe some people might even forget about Joseph is Joseph. He has his spiritual path, and he has his he has what is now his job, but he's always looking for business
Yeah.
ideas and business ventures. It's
Mm-hmm.
very important to him that he maximizes his potential,
Right.
and that was the struggle. The struggle is, if you are a person who is the the manager of the faith that's happening in a certain place, does that just mean that that's what you are? And I don't want to say that's all you are, because it's such an important position to be in, but yeah, that
Right.
person might also want to do other things and to explore other avenues. So Henry gives Joseph that
Yeah.
insight into that world that he so wants to be a part of. It's important to his growth, and vice versa. Henry can explore his spirituality and his faith through the one person in town who can tell him what it's like to lean into it as much as possible.
Yeah, I love that they're in this spot of their relationship where they're both sharing. It's not just one-sided. It's not just
Hmm.
Joseph giving advice, but Henry's actually challenging Joseph as well. And I think that's really, really beautiful to watch on screen.
Yeah, I liked the fact that it was Henry who got Joseph to see that he wasn't listening to his
Yeah,
daughter.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
He's like, but she is different. And what was great about that too is, that leads back again to real life, in that, if you are a visual minority, then and your kids come to you, and they say, why is this happening, or why am I being looked at this way just because of the color of my skin, or my ethnic origin? Why is this happening? You end up saying to them, you are just as good as everybody else. You sometimes, what I was told when I was coming up was, because of the way the world looked at me, my parents told me I had to be twice as good to be treated fairly, to be
Mm-hmm.
treated as an equal, to
Mm-hmm.
to two parties, with parties that didn't face the same type of scrutiny. And that got driven into
Mm.
my brother, myself, and my sister. That's what you hear. You hear that all the time. You hear that every day. That you have to be twice as good.
Mm-hmm.
You can't make the mistakes that that other folks can make, because the ramifications of you doing that are tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
So when Angela says, "I'm different," Joseph, his knee jerk reaction is, "No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're just as special as everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
You can do." He's not listening because he's protecting. He's
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
he's doing this thing where he thinks she's talking about the world in a different way than she's actually talking about the world. She's not talking about the fact that she has a limitation.
Right. Right.
In terms of what others see, she's
Mm-hmm.
talking about how she feels about her limitation.
Right.
That's what she's talking about.
Right.
So
And I
yeah.
like how Henry said but she is, but you understood the tone was, but she's amazing. Like she
Yes.
is different,
Right.
but she's amazing. Like, and
Yeah.
in a way that he's not her father. He,
No.
right. He sees her and how she's gone about her life in this small town. And he's like, no, she is different, but look at her. Like that's,
Yeah.
yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
And he's so matter of fact. That's
yep.
the thing that's so great about Henry. Henry is just, if you want to find out anything about yourself, just ask Henry. Henry,
Yep.
do
Yeah.
these do these do these overalls look good on me? Not at all. Thank you. Thank you, Henry.
Could I go change? Yes.
Yeah. He's brutally honest. That's Henry.
But no, those are some great scenes.
Yeah.
Uh, Looking ahead, what are you excited to explore with Joseph's character in particular?
Yeah, the big thing is definitely going to be the fact that Angela's away, and um, I've been away from my kids because they've either I've gone somewhere or they've gone somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and you just you're never fully kind of all the way here.
Right.
There's always a part of you that's kind of with your kid, hoping that everything is okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that that's going to be happening a lot. Like it's going to be on, so Angela will be on their minds a lot more because she's not there.
Right.
Right.
Um, uh, but then you actually have the fact that she's not there, so you're not interacting with her. Um, I think, and I hope that and this is not something that I've ever even thought to explore, but I hope that the way that Joseph and Angela and Angela and Minnie and even Cooper can communicate
Mm-hmm.
uh, is shown, as far
Yeah.
as it's going to be letters and
Right.
it's going to be telephone calls
Yeah.
from school, and I hope that they show that the three of us communicating with Angela involves us. I don't even know how we would even do this, but Braille, like, you know what I mean? Like how do I communicate with my daughter
Right.
Yeah.
when she's
It's
Right.
very
away?
valid. Yeah.
Very
I just thought of it right now. I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
Wait.
I,
Well,
I don't have that. Yeah,
Allie made the graduation card out of Braille, so
right. Like,
maybe letters can get done.
they can.
Yeah. And
But
they
it
do
would
have
be like,
phones there, so
but does it go the other way? Do I have to learn Braille?
yes.
Like,
It feels like a whole episode, a
Learn
whole
how to write
storyline
a letter.
for
yeah,
episodes
honestly,
for
like,
figuring that out. Yeah.
I never thought about it until right now, because Angela was home, so it's
Yeah.
not something I had to think about communicating with her
How do you
necessarily.
send her a note to encourage
Yeah,
her?
how do I do that? So I'm sure, like, that's not even an issue nowadays, because you can get any
Yeah,
printer to
to
print
Braille.
anything and
Right.
then to reverse engineer it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did they do that back then?
Huh.
So
Huh. I love that. I love that thought. Um, Viv, this has been really fun. We've taken a lot of your time. So
Take more. I'm fine.
We've played this game with you before, but let's play it again because it's been about a year. A little favorites game. What?
Okay.
Let's start with this. What have you been watching recently? Do you have a favorite TV series?
I've watched two shows recently. One called The Residents.
Uh-huh.
That's on Netflix. It's like a whodunit,
Yep.
kind of comedy mystery. Really fun. Really
Yeah.
fun. That's fun. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I just watched a show out of the UK called Adolescence.
Yes,
And,
everybody's talking about that one. Yeah.
yeah, that. Uh, it lands in such a specific way because I'm a parent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you can watch it and not be a parent, and you're gonna still feel whatever the feels. You're gonna feel all the stuff that's in there because there's so much in there. But as a parent, especially for me as a parent to two teenage boys, and an almost adult daughter. Wow,
Yeah.
it lands a lot. It's so well done story wise, and it's so well done. The execution of this show is that it's this one
Mm.
continuous take. So the camera movement is insane. It's amazing. It goes from drone shots to handheld to following, like you see the drone coming in, you see the shot from above a building, all the way down, 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 down. I don't know how they paint out the operators or where everybody is that's flying the camera to an operator who takes the camera and walks away with it to follow the actors.
That's the same.
It's
Crazy.
yeah, yeah. It's an undertaking that there's 4 episodes, and when I first saw the amount of episodes, I'm like, 4. Come on,
Right.
come on, guys, you got to give
Give me
British
more.
shows notoriously give you like 5 episodes. Like
Yeah.
they've never done things like North American audiences are used to. Like, well, I remember back in the day where you had 24 episodes of a show, right? Now,
all school year long.
yeah, now kids like it reminds me. Vienna came across a show Lost, and so she started watching from season 1, and I'm so used to the way the episode numbers now that I'd be like, "Oh, what season are you on now?" And she'd be like, "Season 1." And like 2 weeks later, I'm like, "What season are you on now?" Season 1. It's 24 episodes, Dad. She's like, I'm not watching this every moment of my life. I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's right." There was a time where we had way more content spread out over a huge amount of time, but that show, 4 episodes, the undertaking, the technical aspect, the acting, what the actors had to do, what the crew had to do, what everyone had to do to make that show work is insane. And that's why there's only 4 episodes, because to do more, oh my gosh, it would no.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm a little nervous to watch it because I'm a parent, but I will.
Yeah.
But I wonder if it will change the way that things are being made. Like, I wonder if we'll see more of that attempt.
We'll
more
see
cinematic
people,
look.
Yeah, we'll see people trying to take that on. Technology's definitely going to help do that because, again, drones, like, if you go back even 10 years, drone shots, no, there's a point in time where that would be a helicopter that's trying to fly in low to get the shot. It's like, why is everything blowing in this scene? Because there's a giant helicopter, blowing everything out of the way. You just couldn't achieve it. So yeah, it's cool to watch this thing now. I think people will push the envelope. There'll be something else that does the same thing. But if you're gonna go for that, if you're gonna go for one take of anything, if you're gonna go do that thing, you need the content to be amazing too. It can't all just be, all show and no go. So,
Love that. Yeah. All right. Do you have a favorite movie of all time, or a movie you've watched recently that you really liked?
Man, we were away in the Philippines. The whole family. My wife's from the Philippines, so we went to go see her side of the family, and we were watching The Shawshank Redemption,
Oh,
and oh
iconic.
man, so amazing. The
Yeah.
movie's so amazing. It's. I remember clearly when the movie came out.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, the marketing team behind it, they didn't push it at all.
Mm-hmm.
People barely knew about that movie, and I remember this is one of the few instances where my wife saw a movie before I did.
Okay.
Because I love movies, I love TV, so I always go.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
always going, and I'm always watching something. And I remember she and her friends went to go. They went to go see something else, but ended up seeing Shawshank Redemption, and she came back and she was like blown away.
Yeah.
She's like, "It's such a good movie. We have to go see this movie." And I really was like, I don't really, I didn't. There was no. I didn't know drive to see it. I hadn't read the book, so I didn't realize what the story was about. And then we went to go see it, and oh man, changed my life. Just watching Morgan Freeman do anything
Yeah.
Amazing.
is
Right.
is incredible, and I've had the great fortune of meeting him. He he's just one of those people, man. He makes it seem so easy. It's effortless.
Right.
Watched him act in scenes, and the whole crew is we're just mesmerized watching him.
Yeah.
Everybody's just watching him. He has this particular effect on. I don't even understand it sometimes. His voice
Yeah.
is so soothing. It's insane.
It's like he puts you in a trance.
He does.
You could
He
listen to
does.
Morgan Freeman all day long.
All day long.
All day
All day
long.
long. So yeah, I love the fact that the kids love the movie, especially my son Lennox. He loves The Shawshank Redemption, and I have this thing that I do with them where I will show them movies, sometimes pretty early on, that are the themes of the movies are very advanced. There's no 9-year-old that's going to figure it out. And obviously, we put on movies that are appropriate for them to see. But some of the movies with the bigger concepts and bigger themes, I'm so proud of myself being able to break stuff down. I'm telling them
Yeah.
what the themes are as we're watching the movies, and it allows them to understand them at a much earlier age,
Yeah.
and understand what's happening, and
Right.
that stories are important. So I love the fact that all three of them love that aspect of film and television, I'm very critical of a lot of stuff. So all three of the kids are like very critical of content. There's something will come out, they're like, oh, that's not good.
You raised them
I
well.
love that. I love that. They're critics already.
They're critics
Yeah.
like me.
Okay, so when you are not acting or, teaching your children to drive and all that, do you have any hobbies?
I am I'm a car person. I love anything with wheels, man. Yeah, I have I don't have a collection of cars. I'm not that person, but I have more cars than I can drive at once.
You have some cars.
I have some cars, and yeah, I kind of a fanatic actually when it comes. I don't. It's been my whole life. I don't know what it is actually.
Yeah. Do you love to go see the car shows and the
Yeah,
car,
yeah,
the
yeah. I
oldies,
have
the new ones, the
Are
cool
you
ones?
into supercars or like the classic cars?
everything,
Everything.
everything. Yeah, I have a couple of. I have one collectible, and I have one that will be a collectible pretty soon. And there's always different groups of people with different brands of vehicles,
Yeah.
and how they feel about them. And I think, honestly, I'm just realizing this right now, but I think what I've always loved so much about car culture is that it it's allowed me to meet people and connect in ways that I would never have connected with
Yeah.
them. I just would never have connected. Like I know I've met people who again, if we weren't looking at a car
Mm-hmm.
and agreeing on what we were seeing there, we'd probably never cross paths
Right.
at all.
Right.
We'd probably never have a conversation. But that's the coolest thing about the car culture and people who go to shows and put their cars in shows and so is that you meet at this center. You all meet because you have something in common, and
Yeah.
it cuts through. It cuts through a lot. It cuts
Right.
through a lot of barriers that are
Mm-hmm.
just put up in front of you because we all share we all get it.
Yeah.
You know, we share the love of this thing, and we can't even explain why sometimes. You know,
I love that. No, car culture. I love that
yeah,
terminology for that because
yeah,
it's very much
yeah.
a thing. It's, we're not big into car culture, but we have friends that are and have gone in and out of shows and different things. It's very fun, actually. It's a great group of people, and you kind of just stand shoulder to shoulder with somebody, and you're just,
Yeah,
yeah,
I feel sorry for my wife Davina because I am always talking about
cars.
either what I'm gonna do to the cars that I have, or it's always a different car. It's always a different car. This week I love this car. I'm gonna get this car next. I'm looking at this one costs this much. I'm having full on conversation with her, and she's like,
Mhm.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
She knows that
Next week
I'm
it'll be
gonna
different.
forget this car
My
next
son
week.
is into he loves supercars. So with YouTube,
Yep.
all the YouTubers have the supercars, right? So
Yes.
he's learned a lot. Actually, that's how I learned he knew how to spell because he wanted to write Lamborghini, and I'm like, I don't think you're
Oh,
spelling it right, but he was.
yes, he was. Oh,
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
that's it.
it's fun.
So fun. So music. Do you have a favorite song, band, artist?
Um, I I think actually I know that the musician that impacted me more than anybody is Michael Jackson.
Yeah,
Um, again, the era that I came through,
yeah,
he was always so. Being given the fact that Michael Jackson was older than me when I was born, he was
mhm,
already a star.
yeah,
Yeah,
But by the time I was what was that? I was like 8 years old around the time that Thriller came out,
yeah,
and there's just something about living through that moment,
yeah,
that moment in time. It's like I said, talking about Motown 25,
yeah,
Michael Jackson doing the moonwalk for the first time.
yeah,
Man,
yeah,
I've shown kids the kids that that performance and they are amazed by it. But to be alive at that
mhm,
point, to see the reaction of the planet
right,
to this one person, and who for me, see, this is the thing that there was a point in time where if you were kind of again a part of a visual minority group, if someone from the group that you're in did something amazing
mhm,
and
yeah,
everybody could agree that that was amazing,
mhm,
then there were moments in time where we were all lined up,
yes,
mhm,
right?
right,
It just
yeah,
got rid of every barrier.
right,
And I know that that's why there are certain people that are so special to me
right,
because they were so special to everyone. And
right.
it didn't matter what you looked like, you all agreed on this thing that this person is amazing. And it allowed for us to just connect. So that point in time specifically with that person,
yeah,
you just feel like you're going through it with them,
Yeah,
like with everything that he was doing.
yeah,
It's like you're going through it too. I was just proud of everything that he was doing. Man, he did the moonwalk. He did this reaction. People going crazy again. If you are part of that group, if that is how you see yourself, it's a nice way to be able to see yourself for a second.
right.
So
The world stood still during those times. The world stood
right.
still and watched. Right.
totally, anytime there was a music video that came out, the world stopped. I will never forget. I was in the I think I was in the third grade, and hearing my school teachers
Right.
talk about Michael Jackson it blew my mind because I was like, wait a minute, you know what? Like,
Yeah, like you're cool.
Yeah.
wait a minute, wait, what? Yeah, it completely blew my mind because you know this always happens with any type of pop culture. You always think, and when you're a kid, you think it kind of has a cap. You
Yeah,
know, like if you're 80 years old, you don't know Billie Jean, but yes, 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 80-year-olds knew Billie Jean, and it was again, it was kind of this movement.
Right.
You know, I guess people could liken that to like the Beatles if they went through that era.
right. Yeah,
Presley, if they went through that era. There was just something that was unifying you all, and it had such a massive impact. And so yeah, to this day, you know, that's still the
The,
that's the sound of my childhood.
yeah,
the
Number
impact.
one, you know,
Yeah.
like Off the Wall, and then Thriller is like
Yeah.
that's my childhood.
Right.
That era. Uh, yeah, and oh man, it's so crazy. It's so crazy to just watch that live. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah. I love that perspective.
Yeah.
So do you have anything else in the works? Like what should we be watching for?
You know, nowadays it's almost more the kids have a bunch of
Yeah,
stuff on the
Yeah.
go.
You're busy.
Um yeah, you know, Elias is has been making some big moves, and he he just landed a really cool part to play a young Muhammad Ali in a TV series called The Greatest, and I, I just we literally just got back from him going to audition for this show,
amazing.
and it was the coolest moment. They brought me into the room just before they offered him the part, so he found out in real time that they wanted him to play the part, but they invited me into the room, and I'm again, you know, I'm watching my kid who, you know, 2020 first time he ever got in front of a camera,
Right.
and I'm watching him command a room and deal with executives, deal with writers, deal with another actor, deal with all these different people, and just take charge. And he was funny, and he was engaging, and he. I didn't watch him do the audition because I was outside of the room at that point, but they were just all blown away by him, and and then when I came into the room, him and we have good banter,
Yeah.
Elias, and he's a funny, he's a quick witted guy,
Yeah.
And he's I just can't say enough about these children of mine. I love them so much, but this kid, man, in this moment, I was like very proud of this guy, and
Yeah.
when they offered him the part, I was like, this is very classy. It's to kind of bring me in, and you know, to offer him the part.
Feels
Like
like a good team too.
it's a really good team. I've been really fortunate to be around really good teams. I've said to Elias, I'm like, I don't know how you navigated this, but every set that he's ever been on, the crew and the cast have all been amazing.
Right.
He's had the most luck out of any actor I know. Just going from like you go from one project to the next, you can't guarantee that you're gonna have a when calls cast
Yeah.
Yeah.
and crew. You
Yeah.
can't guarantee that, but this kid, no matter where, no matter
Yeah.
what, it's all been so smooth
Well,
and
what
so
a
cool.
foundation he has, you know, learning on the When Call set with, we know
Right.
everybody is so wonderful.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets that. So it's
No.
amazing. Well, we'll be watching for all the amazing things your kids are doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really proud of them. My brother and I we have a few TV series we're trying to get off the ground.
Fun.
So we've been writing, and I give props to writers because it is not easy to do.
It's a lot of work.
And I like I said before, I'm very critical, and I have like I have a very my logic brain for what I'm seeing in a script or what I'm watching on a show or movie is like so scathing. I will if the logic is not correct, I do not want to watch it. I don't want to be. I don't want to remember it. I don't want to see it because it pulls me out so far.
Yeah.
because when you do this thing, when you act for a living, if you I suppose if you do anything artistically for a living, let's just say that you're Liberace and you're going to watch someone play the piano. It could be excruciating for you if you're Liberace. If you can play the piano as well as Liberace, now you go to a local place and you're just watching someone play the piano. You'd be like, oh my god, this is driving me crazy, because you could hear all the defects and all the stuff that they're doing incorrectly. And it's the same thing with actors. We read so many scripts. We read all the
Yeah.
time. So then for me, when I see, especially an actor on a certain caliber, do something and the logic doesn't make sense, it's like, wait, how did you not catch this? You're you. How
Right.
did you not see what
Right.
I see? I'm
Right.
not you.
Right.
You're like a massive Hollywood star. How in the world did this get past you? And it pulls me out. I'm like, I can't understand it. I don't. I
So what
don't.
are you saying you are your own worst critic?
I'm saying you should be your own worst critic.
Yes,
When it comes,
exactly.
but when it
Exactly.
comes to, again, you've raised the. Let's just say you raised the bar.
Yeah.
You're one of those actors or musicians or someone who raises the bar. You got to keep yourself in check. You can't. You have a responsibility to
Right.
stay here or just keep going up.
Right.
That blows. I'll never understand it. There's a level where you don't have any say. There's a
Right.
level when you're an actor. There's a point in time where you don't have. I don't want to say any say, but you don't have much say.
Right.
Mhm.
But if you become Tom Cruise,
Yeah, you got to say.
for me, I'm like, you should never be in a bad movie. It should never happen, because how could it happen? You could stop production if you want. You could
Right.
get anything done if you want. So why could you? How could you be in a bad movie? Makes no sense to me.
We will not bring up Pal the Pony and his storyline at this point, even though that's all I keep seeing.
You know what? I love Pal. I love Pal the Pony. And there was an aspect to that storyline.
Yeah.
I gotta big up my buddy Jack Wagner.
Oh, I heard about this.
Yes, there was an aspect to what the viewers didn't get to see.
Which we needed to, apparently.
Yes, because it was such a important moment again for you think about Bill. Bill is the elder statesman in town.
And gruff.
Right, and gruff. But there's a reason why.
Yeah.
There's a reason why he's gruff. He's gruff because this man, if you want to break it down, he's got nowhere to put his feelings.
Yeah.
It's not happening. If you even have the persona of being gruff, that means that you have now painted yourself into a corner of never being able to express anything ever, even if you want to. And so, what I loved about his arc with Pal the Pony, which was so Pal gets he wanders away. He wanders out of the pen, and of course, Little Jack was struggling with what he was struggling with, and and in an effort and a race to save Little Jack. Once that seemed to be something that was going in the right direction, Bill focused on making sure that Powell was found.
Mm-hmm.
And what the viewers didn't get to see was a scene where Joseph runs into Bill, and Bill is completely preoccupied with going to find Powell.
Yeah.
Because he knows how much it's going to mean to little Jack. And what it underscored was how worried he was about little Jack. He was so scared that something was going to happen to this little guy that he loves so much, but he's not going to express that. He's just going to do. He's just going to be someone who goes and does something. And he had to go do something to to even make himself feel better, because he can't express it, can't say it.
Right.
And so there's a scene that Jack and I have together where I run into him and I'm like, hey, am I going to see you at Sunday service? And he's like, I got a job to do. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You helped save little Jack. He's like, no, I got to find Pal. and we're talking, and as we're talking, Pal just wanders in. Pal's in the stable. Like the first way they wrote it was Pal wanders back into the stable, and then they wrote it that they had to change it to Pal was in the stable, and we were by the stables because he's putting his he's gonna gear up to go
Yeah.
right.
Right.
So we're
And
in the
then
stables, and then they changed it to Pal's in the stable because that would have been technically difficult to get the little pony to go on cue
Yeah.
and to walk in the frame and all that stuff. So he's in the stable. He's in the stall, I should say. And Wagner and I both look over. Oh, what? Like Pal's back. The emotion
Yeah.
that Jack was able to show, the relief on his face when Pal comes back, and then the release that he cannot stop. He can't contain it anymore in this moment. Man, I was like, oh man, I wish that was part of what happened and unfolded because
we needed it as viewers. We needed that scene as viewers. It needed.
Jack
we
knocked
get
it.
to see him
He knocked
be
it out.
a little
He knocked
tender with Nathan when Nathan had
Mhm.
was able to break down. So to be able to watch Jack do that, I feel like it just would have given so much depth to Bill.
Yeah.
That we don't get to see.
Yeah, and the thing that's again, when you watch Wagner do anything, especially the emotional stuff, again, Jack's a guy who's, I know what it's like to be a guy from the era that I came through. So I can guess what it's like to be
Right.
a guy from the era that Jack came through. And it's, again, it's not like you don't have access to your emotions, but you're not supposed to.
Right.
Have access to your emotions. And so when we watch him do anything like that, man, it's pretty cool to watch.
Well, maybe we'll get something different but similar in 13.
Season 13,
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
He's it's cool to see he's been lined up for a little bit of romance. So
Right.
Yep. Melissa Gilbert is there as Georgie, so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you're gonna see another side of Bill.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Yeah. Well, Viv, this has been so fun. We always love catching up with you, and I'm sure everybody will enjoy hearing your side of season 12, I guess we can say.
Yeah.
We'll be watching for the kids and all their projects, and hopefully your shows.
Yes, my brother and I are trying to push to get some stuff out there, so hopefully it's out there soon. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, thanks for joining us. We love chatting with you.
Yes, thanks for having me. I love you.
Anytime.
We gotta hang out some more.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, maybe this year.
All right.
Let's make it happen. Well, thank you everybody for watching and listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.